Greetings everybody, it's Emily from Of Pages and Ink, and today I will be doing the A to Z book tag that was originally based on A to Z survey post done by the Perpetual Page Turner, which is a blog run by a woman named Jamie, and I will put the link down to her blog below. And I had found this on BookTube. I don't know who turned it into a book tag, but I thought it looked like fun and decided to give it a shot. So the point of the A to Z book tag survey thing is one of the social media survey question thingy things is the A to Z one, and it'll ask questions that start with letter A, letter B, and so on. So Jamie turned it into a Bookish one, and that's where these questions come from, and let's get started. So obviously the first question is A, and that is, well, maybe I should do sign language. A. Author you've read the most books from. And after some counting, I realized that the author I've read the most books from is Cassandra Clare. I own the Mortal Instruments series and the Infernal Devices series, as well as, whoops, I dropped it, as well as the Bang Chronicles and the Shadowhunter Codex. And I really want to get Lady Midnight, but there's a thing that came to light recently that I read. I don't know if it was something that recently came to light, but it was something I recently read that was Cassandra Clare kind of stole a couple things from another book series. And some of the things were kind of word for word, so I don't know if I'm going to continue reading her books and watching her show, but right now I am, so who knows? Letter B, right? Or should I just, I don't know. B, best sequel ever. So I did a little thinking on this one, and I decided that the best sequel to a series that I've read is Champion by Marie Lu. This cover feels fantastic. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Anyway, Legend and Prodigy were okay in my opinion, but when it really got to reading Champion is really where I fell in love with the Legend trilogy. So that is why I have concluded that this is my favorite sequel story thing. Yes, this cover is so cool. Anyway, C, currently reading. So I am currently reading, and it was here. Oh, it's over there. I moved it. Currently reading Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas, because I'm working my way through a reread and then a read of the Throne of Glass series, and I say read because I haven't read Queen of Shadows yet. So that is the read, this is the reread. D, drink of choice while reading. Honestly, anything. I'm not really picky. I know a lot of people like to drink coffee while they read, a lot of people like to drink tea while they read. Honestly, just a cup of water is totally fine. Or the blood of my enemies. Anyway, e-reader or physical book. So, I think it's actually really funny that people thought that the e-readers were going to ruin the bookseller industry, like the physical books or whatever, and I prefer physical books. I have books on my Nook, and I have a Kindle app, and I have books on that, but I don't really read them. I prefer my physical books. I don't know why. I think it has to do with something with the fact that I like to know how many more pages I have, and an e-reader will tell you, but you're holding this, thin machine, and it feels like the story is just droning on and on. You're like, this thing is so small. Why is the story taking forever? And I think it kind of ruins most of the stories I read for me. But maybe I just, maybe it's the stories. I don't know. Anyway, I prefer physical books. They're a good weapon in case of emergency. They feel better. They smell good when they're new. And they just look so much nicer on a bookshelf than, a tablet. Fictional character you probably would have dated in high school. So I thought about this a little bit, and I looked at my bookshelf, and I thought about the things I've read, and I do have a lot of male book characters that I like, but I think the only book character that I can think of that if he was an actual person I probably would have had a major crush on is Simon Lewis. from the Mortal Instruments series. Because he's so geeky and adorable, and we have some things in common, like anime and Dungeons and Dragons, I believe, if I remember correctly, and a couple other things. So I'm just like, I would have had a major crush on him, and he, from what I have imagined, is absolutely adorable. And the Alberto, who plays Simon Lewis on Shadowhunters TV series, is adorable. So, Simon Lewis, gee, glad you gave this book a chance. So I went with The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Adhay because this book was on Tumblr for so long before I decided to actually pick it up, and I was like, it's gonna be romantic and I don't feel like a romance, and then I picked it up and actually read it from the library, and it was so good, and I was so mad at myself for not necessarily judging a book by its cover, because there is romance in it, quite a bit of it, but it's like the story itself, just the story around the story, and it's a really good read. I really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad I gave it a chance. So, H, Hidden Gem Book. I don't have an answer for this, because most of the books that I have read, many other people have read as well, because most of my books are pretty mainstream. I don't really have many books that, I just randomly saw and picked up and like, oh, this is great. So, I don't know. I left it blank. So, important moment in your reading life. Making a bookler. I was on Tumblr for maybe 2 years before I decided to make a bookler. And it was largely because I started making friends with people who read books. And I was starting to read more because I was going back to the library, and I decided, alright, it's time for me to start a bookler. So I made a bookler, and I wouldn't read as much as I do, and I wouldn't have as many books as I do if it wasn't for bookler, because they show me a whole bunch of really awesome books to read, and my TBR is so much longer than it was, and so bookler is kind of my big important bookish moment, or moment in my reading life or something. I can't really think of anything else that it would be. I would think, my booktube or my bookstagram, but honestly, bookler. It's where it all started. Alright, and then just finished. So I just finished Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, because like I said, I'm rereading the series, and this book is, I missed this book. This series is really great, and I recommend it to everybody. And I hate the fact that, it's probably so overhyped that people are afraid that the hype will ruin it. I mean, I guess it could, but honestly, I think you should give it a chance. Maybe you'd be, gee, glad you gave it a chance. That was really lame. But, I mean, the cover's awesome. Look at the back, too. The cover's awesome. The characters are great. The story plot builds upon itself. The world expands. The, prequel novellas are fantastic. It's just a really good series, and I definitely recommend it to people. My brother has read it. I tried to get my brother to read the Mortal Instruments series, which is, a widely beloved story series, and he, read a couple chapters and put it down, and I had to pick it up because I was tired of seeing it on the floor. So, that should tell you something. Major book hangover. Oh, no. I'm on K. Kinds of books you won't read. Nonfiction and romance novels. And I don't mean, this has romance in it. This has some romance in it. This one has romance in it. Most of my books have romance in them. But the thing with these books is, even if there's romance in them, there's stuff surrounding it. It's not, and I don't want to say straight romance, because that sounds like, a homosexual couple, or a homo-romantic couple. I mean, something that is just romance, or just, contemporary romance. I have no interest in reading. I have a romance novel books. I have Vampire Kisses. It's romance about vampires. It's the vampire part that I really enjoy. And it's actually also really cute. But anyway. L. Longest book you've read. The longest book that I read, and I forgot to grab it, but it's right here. Winter, by Marissa Meyer. It is 823 pages. It does not look like it. The pages are actually really thin, kind of like the Bible's really thin pages. Because if you compare that to, like, Queen of Shadows is so much bigger than Winter, but Winter was longer. It's nuts. Not really, but anyway. Major book hangover because of. Okay, by major book hangover, I mean I was probably book hungover for like an hour, and then I read Never Fade. But that's the only thing I can think of. That would be The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. This is strangely still in good condition. Maybe it's because Never Fade is an absolute mess. I love this series. Anyway. Number of bookcases you own. 1. I'm hopefully getting another one. I went to Big Lots. There is still a Big Lots around my area of living. It is really hot in here. What the heck? Anyway, I either want to put it underneath my desk. I need to rearrange my room again because I realized a much better placement for everything. But I want to either put it beneath my desk or like maybe behind my piano or something, my keyboard, or even just put my keyboard away because I actually don't play it as much as I thought I was going to. But, you know, I need another bookshelf because I have Truth Witch, The Love That Split the World, Glass Sword, and Time Machine, right? Yeah, the Time Machine just sitting on top of my books. And then I have a bunch more, like, at the very top that's just sitting on top of my books, and I don't like it. I need another bookshelf. Moving on. Oh, one book you have read multiple times. The Chronicles of Vladimir Todd by Heather/Zachary Brewer. Should I stop saying Heather/Zachary Brewer? Because the only reason I do it is because it says Heather on it, and I don't want to confuse people by saying Zachary Brewer wrote this, and it says Heather Brewer on it. I don't know. Guess let me know. But this book I have read so many times, and I still love it, and I actually really need to reread it this year. Because I haven't read it in years, and I really need to, because he is my friend, and I need to catch up. I really miss him. Okay? Preferred place to read. Either my bed, or the love seat out in the living room right next to the window, because it allows light to come in, and it's nice, and there's like air conditioning, and sometimes I need a blanket, because it actually gets really cold because of the air conditioning. But it's a really nice place to read. It's pretty comfy. A quote that inspires you / gives you all the feels from a book you've read. I have a ton of quotes. If you ask me what my favorite quotes are, I will get out my notebook and be like, this one, this one, this one, this one. But I guess the one that's kind of inspiring is, you could rattle the stars. You could do anything if only you dared. And deep down, you know it too. That's what scares you the most. And that's from Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. It was said by Queen Elena. And the reason why this one is kind of inspiring is because a lot of people doubt themselves, and the doubt kind of comes from where they think they know they can do it, but they're afraid to take that step, and because they're afraid they're going to mess up. And I feel like that quote is kind of, you know, it scares you, the things you could do, but you just have to do them. If you want to change the world, you have to take that step and do it. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's pretty inspirational, and I really do like that quote. So, R, from a serious to a non... Anyway, R, reading regret. Not reading Harry Potter as a kid. I've tried to get into it a couple times, and I haven't really been into it, and it's not because it's a bad book, but I think it's just... I don't know. I think because the reading starts off, obviously, as kind of like a kid's story, like a middle grade, late elementary school kind of reading. And then it builds because the people that started reading Harry Potter were all in middle school, then they were in high school, then they were in college, depending on, well, yeah, that's pretty much how it would have worked. So the writing progressed as the readers aged. So by starting with Sorcerer's Stone, I'm reading a book that was pretty much late elementary, early middle school level, and maybe that's what bothers me, is that, you know, the writing doesn't hit me as much. But I love the movies. And I love the fandom, and I will get to it one day. I promise. I will get there. Maybe I need to read it to my godchild when he's 8. Maybe that'll help. Anyway. S. Series you started and need to finish. All the books are out in the series. There's in parentheses. So I was thinking, I'm like, most of the books on my shelf are either beginning or I have all the books to them and I just haven't gotten to the last one, which the only one with that is no, because it's not even the last one. I still have another book left, or another 2 books left, and that would be the Throne of Glass series. But then I realized that one book that I have started, and it has finished, all the books are published, and that is the Shiver series by Maggie Stiefvater, or the Wolves of Mercy Falls, or something like that. You know what's funny? Is this has a series title, but it's not written anywhere on here. Although I think Penryn and the End of Days is the same thing. Alright, so moving on. I get sidetracked a lot, I'm sorry. 3 of your all-time favorite books. I have 4 on here because I couldn't pick. And I actually have all of them down here. I just gotta pull them all out. Give me one moment. The Hunger Games, Throne of Glass, Darkest Minds, and the Chronicles of Vladimir Tod. Those are my favorites. Without a doubt. I will recommend them all to you till I'm blue in the face, because they're all fantastic, and you should all read them, or you should read them all. You should all read them. Unapologetic Fangirl 4, Hunger Games. Hunger Games shirt, Hunger Games necklace, Hunger Games Mockingjay pin. Put that back up. I have another Hunger Games shirt. This bow was supposed to be a Hunger Games bow, but I kind of just left it with its little stitching that I did that you can't even see, because I didn't want to mess up the bow because it's cute. Yeah. I guess the other thing that I'm unapologetically fangirl for is just Gryffindor. Because I need to read the Harry Potter series for me to say that I'm a Harry Potter fangirl, to be honest. But, Gryffindor. I have it's not even a Gryffindor shirt, though. It's I solemnly swear I'm up to no good because I love that quote. I have a Gryffindor bracelet. I have a Gryffindor lanyard. I'm planning on making me a Gryffindor scarf. I have a Gryffindor bookmark I made somewhere in my bedroom. I don't know where it went. So yeah. Very excited for this release more than all the others. I have 2 here because I wasn't sure which one I was more excited for, and that's the Raven King, which is the final book in the Raven Cycle series. Excuse me, and Heartless, which is the first book in a Alice in Wonderland based retelling series by Marissa Meyer. At least I think it's a series. Maybe it's just one book. I'm pretty sure it's a series. But I'm really excited for both of those. Probably more than A Court of Mist and Fury. More than The Crown, which I haven't read the Air yet, so I can't really be excited for The Crown until I read the Air. What other books? There's more. I just can't think of them. Yeah. So, worst bookish habit. I don't know. I was thinking about it. I don't fold my corners. The only exception is on the book that I got my godchild and read to him, which was Alice in Wonderland, like a little classics book that was $1. Because I didn't have anything I could have used for a bookmark, and anything I would have used would have fallen out when I put it on the bookshelf. So I just kind of folded the corner. But I don't do that with my books, so I mean, that's not really, for other people, that's probably not a bad habit. I just don't like to do it. I like to keep my books clean, and when they don't stay clean, then I stop caring. But I'm not going to do it on purpose. I don't have overdue books. I have a fine, but it was because that was back before I really drove myself around, and my dad took my brother and I to the library. I have like $8 in unpaid fines that I need to pay. So I don't really count that one because that wasn't really my fault. What is considered a bookish habit? Is it buying too many books when you're supposed to be on a book buying ban? Because I'm pretty good about that. Is it buying more books than my shelf can hold? Because I guess that would be a bad, but it's not really a habit. I don't know. So I just put I don't know. I have it like all written down along the side. X marks the spot. Start at the top left of your shelf and pick the 27th book. So I did that earlier because then I'd have to stand up and I'd have to move my camera and I'd have to move it back and sit back down. So I just did it. And the 27th book, starting with the left side of my bookshelf, was Amulet, which is a graphic novel by Kazu Kibuishi. It's part of the Stonekeeper. No. It's the Amulet series. The first book is Stonekeeper. Sorry. The art's really nice. It's a really dark one, though. Okay. 2 more questions. Your latest book purchase, which I probably should have brought down, I didn't think about it, but that was Truth Witch by Susan Dunnard. And ZZZ Snatcher Book, which is a book that keeps you up way late, and I don't have a specific book for it. Any book that is that I'm close to finishing by the end of the night, like maybe a couple chapters, I will like stay up. I will try to stay up and finish it. If I start falling asleep while I'm reading it, then I have to continue the next day. But usually I can read through them pretty quickly. And that is my Bookish A to Z tag thing. So I tag Liv at Stories for Coffee. I tag Sasha at Whispers-of-the-Silent-Wind. I tag Sophia at the Questionable Hufflepuff. And I tag... I feel like there's somebody I'm missing. Arya at BookGeekMovieFreak. I still feel like there's somebody I'm missing, but I can't think of who it is. So, if you want to do this, feel free to do it. You don't need to be tagged. Usually I'm not tagged, or sometimes I am. But I put unofficially tagged when I'm not really tagged on things and do them anyway. So you can do it. You have full permission to do it. Just remember to give credit to the creator, Jamie, at the Perpetual Page Turner. And I will see you guys the next time I do a video. I don't know if I'll be doing Top 5 Wednesday because the topic is for next week. Books with time travel. I know of 2 books. One of them I have not read. So I'm probably not going to do it next week, which is kind of a bummer for me. But, you know, I will probably do something else. I will not have a book series discussion for Throne of Glass till the series concludes, because I like to do those for series that have already been finished. Yeah, so I will see you guys next time, and thank you so much for watching. It always means so much when you guys watch my videos, and I will see you guys next time. Happy reading!